And yeah, that's the last time I realised that men thongs are different sizes to women thongs, and you can't put the red laces in your white Primark tops. Yeah, right. My mum still does my washing for me. Conveniently, she only lives 10 minutes away, and I dump it all off at her. So I've already started this on why I need women in my life. It's so my mum can wash my red thongs. Love it. Hello,
She's
everyone.
doing
Welcome.
God's work.
God's work. Yes, 1,000,000%. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Sit Down for Stand Up. I have with me today Fran Ayala.
Ayala,
Ah, so close. Who is it founder or runner?
founder.
Ah, founder of Bitches and Stitches. How's it going, Fran? You all right?
I'm well, thanks.
I'm well as well, thank you. It's a two-way street, Fran. I've
I
got to
mean,
go.
we're making this about me, so let's call it what it is.
Buried. You've got your tiara. So, as you watch the episodes, I've been getting a lot more female comics on. I've heard some of their stories, and they've truly been amazing. So I thought, let's go to one of the women who's created and is now running one of sort of the best female all act and non-binary, as long as you identify as a female comedy nights going. So, Fran, let's start off with how did it even start and why did it start and where did it start?
Absolutely. So, Bitches and Stitches is an all-female slash non-male comedy night and community that started in Hong Kong in 2021. So, I lived and worked in Hong Kong for 13 years. Um, I am a marketing and PR strategist, currently an unemployed marketing and PR strategist, which means I'm now a full-time comedian.
Hey.
But what I had noticed, at least in the English stand-up speaking industry, is that there weren't many women compared to the men who were performing. And it turned out to be maybe around just like six of us who were regularly paid to get on shows. And I wanted to create more opportunity for women out there to just come up on stage and tell jokes. But if I was competing for the same slot, like the one woman's slot on a mostly male lineup, then I wouldn't really have any opportunities to meet any new female performers or attract any new women to stand up. So I decided with a co-founder at the time to start producing our own shows. The idea was to do one all-female show. We said, let's just do a night where it's all the women we know who get paid to tell jokes. Let's just make it all of us on stage instead of all of us fighting for one spot on stage. And it sold out in 6 hours.
Man.
So the venue asked us to come back the next month.
Yep.
It sold out in 24 hours. And then they just kept asking us to come back. And then we said, oh, is this a thing now? So Bitches and Stitches became a group instead of the name of one show. We're just like, let's just make this a regular night because it turns out there's an audience for all female shows and there are people who want to see it, but also there were women who approached us wanting to perform with us.
I absolutely commendable. And what sort of night is it? Is it sort of like new act night, pro, semi-pro, like work in
So it's a
progress?
combination of new and pro and semi-pro acts. If you have something to say and if you have a tight five, then we'll find a spot for you. And we make sure you get paid for it.
Well, paid work in London, they sort of don't really go hand in hand much, do they? So, that's absolutely commendable. How did you sort of find the acts, or was it because it's such a good night the acts came and found you?
So in the beginning, we knew some women who were going to regular open mics but weren't paid. So we gave them more opportunities to perform with us. And we would say, we're not going to force you on if you don't think you're ready. But if we think you're ready, we will tell you
Yeah.
because we want that opportunity for you to get paid to just tell awesome jokes. And then we started getting approached by women in the audience in Hong Kong. And there are several members now of Bitches in Stitches Hong Kong who started out coming to our shows. And they came up to us afterwards and said, we want to do what you do. Is there a way we can get into comedy? And I think it's because of that also that we started doing regular monthly writing workshops,
Mhm.
just as an avenue for women who are interested in comedy to try their hand at writing. So they're not having to write something for an open mic and have only 5 minutes and then wait till the next week. So we wanted to kind of have that segue where you may be interested in comedy, but you're not sure if performing's for you. But we want that chance for them to see if it's really a good avenue for them to express themselves creatively and just to learn from other women who've been doing comedy. Like, what are the tenets of joke writing? What are comedians that we think are funny that we can learn from? And can we do an hour where we just write stuff and give each other feedback? And it's a room of people who kind of get it, right? I've done comedy writing workshops with men, and I'm not saying that they don't understand period jokes, but sometimes they don't. So
Yeah.
it's just creating that environment where you know you can come up with something and there's less shame or less fear because you have that connection with people who can relate to your topics.
Yeah, no, I wholeheartedly agree with that. I mean, you mentioned period. If you gave me a while, I'm drawing blank on trying to think of creative aspects of a period joke. Like, 'cause I don't know the topic. I am a stereotypical male. I just I wouldn't know about the subject. So if I was in your workshop, I would be bloody pointless. So to
Yeah,
have people in there, and I've never been big on classes. Got to be honest, but I absolutely love workshops. I think workshops are so good because, like, you take an open mic night, every other comedian's just waiting to get on. They're just waiting to do their
yeah,
bit. You're not going to get the raw feedback. A joke might not get the credit it deserves. But in a workshop, you're told in a safe space, oh, tweak that, drop that. That's
yeah.
perfect. And you're not fighting for anything either. It's just a nice, safe place.
And I think the collective attitude with a workshop is you're not just sitting down and you're not disengaged and just listening to someone kind of parrot on, what they know. It's an actual discussion. It's a conversation where everybody can contribute their ideas, compared to just a class where you sit and you take notes, and that's kind of it.
Yeah, especially when I always I gotta be quite careful what I say because I'm trying to get sponsored by one of the courses. But I always feel like that's just a gateway to basically force people to sell tickets for their final event.
Hmm.
Where a workshop there's no hidden agenda, so to speak.
Yeah. I've done some, not done some, but I've researched some classes
Mm.
which normally would have some sort of fee, or the price of entry would be to buy like a bigger course or to buy somebody's book.
Yeah,
Um, where I'd rather create an environment again where comedy is more accessible to women. So even if I do some research, and research is just me like Googling or finding clips of comedians that we can talk about, um, I keep the workshops of Bitches and Stitches free because I don't want to gatekeep that access that women can have to doing stand-up comedy.
and I love the name by the way.
Thank you.
I think it's such. I mean, I've heard a couple like there's Laughing Labia in London as well. I love that name. They're just so clever. What was the one that no, I had an alliteration for one of them. I was it like no comedy cunt. I think that's what it was. But that's how bad, how uncreative I am.
There's one in Germany called Clit Comedy Club that I think is hilarious.
If it's German though, does it start with a K?
No, it does not.
Oh,
Not.
whatever. Because they. I can't say one being British. The way we spell our words is bad, but Germany's 10 times worse than us. So how does sort of comedy transition from Hong Kong to the Philippines to London to Manchester? Well, how are the
Sure.
scenes different?
So, I lost my job in the pandemic, and I just could no longer afford living in Hong Kong on a comedian's fat salary. So I decided to come home to the Philippines, which is where I'm from, where I grew up. It was just more affordable. I had family there. I had a bigger support system, and I hadn't planned on doing comedy because my husband actually was living in the UK. He went home because his mom got ill. I stayed for my career in Hong Kong, lost my career in Hong Kong, couldn't come to the UK because I didn't have a visa. So I decided to just, as I call it, park in the
Yeah.
Philippines. But I ended up staying there for 2 years because Brexit.
Woot,
Uh,
woot.
the visa process is just a little bit longer than what it used to be because of COVID and Brexit. So while I was there, I finally said, look, I can't just be here waiting and freelancing. I'm going to do some writing for myself. I'm going to do stand-up comedy. Um, and I decided to found Bitches and Stitches over there because, again, in the comedy scene and especially in the English speaking comedy scene, there's really a small male to female ratio, female to male ratio of performing and paid comedians.
Mm.
And then something amazing and interesting happened is I had started up Bitches and Stitches Manila, and we were selling out all of our shows, and we were getting a lot of press coverage. We were in Rolling Stone, we were in the Tatler, they put us in Vogue Philippines, and so naturally I had a Google alert set up for Bitches and Stitches. I got one, but it was for a show in Manchester.
Awesome. Okay.
So I said, wait, is there another Bitches and Stitches all female comedy community doing all female shows in Manchester? And I looked on social media and there was.
Okay.
There was this woman, there is this woman, Natalia Schwartz, who founded Bitches and Stitches, an all female monthly comedy night in Manchester. And she was doing exactly what I was doing. We followed each other on social media. We were fangirling over what the other was doing. And when my visa came through and I saw that I was moving to London, I said, because we're doing the exact same thing, doesn't it just make sense that we merge
Mm.
under one brand and become a global brand?
Yes.
And she said, absolutely, I think we should do that. And so that is how we established in Manchester. But she had been doing it. I think the Manchester chapter has been around since last year. I think it's just over a year now.
Mm.
They've put on over 100 female comedians
Awesome.
from around the UK. And this is the success. They've packed out every room. This is the success we're also going to try and emulate with the chapter that I'm starting up here in London.
Okay. What's sort of your process with London? Because I find London can be quite hit or miss.
Well, what I did was initially I was like, I'm going to post in a Facebook group
Yeah.
or a WhatsApp group, an all female WhatsApp group. But that's not a very good system. That was the system I used in Asia when there are about less than a dozen working female comics. That's a fine system.
Yeah.
It's not in the UK, which Natalia from Manchester advised me as well. So what I do now is I've got a Google form that people have to fill
Yeah.
in, submit like a 5 minute clip of themselves performing unedited.
Yeah.
And
Unedited's the important bit.
yes, absolutely. An unedited 5 minute clip of one of their sets. And I think in one day I got nearly 50 applications.
Awesome. Yes.
So I watched every single video. I went through every single form. Luckily I have help. So Bitches and Stitches London, I'm running with a fellow female comedian named Ari David,
Okay.
who I met when I was visiting London a couple of years ago and I was gigging. We ran into each other at the same gig in Shoreditch. We exchanged eye rolls over someone who made pretty racist jokes in a
Mm.
crowd where a Black woman and a Filipino woman were clearly like sitting in front.
They didn't read the room.
No, they did not read the room, but I mean it was I think it was unique to that night because nobody else was awful like that.
Yeah.
But I think she and I kind of bonded over that because we were sat next to each other and we are just like, "Oh, this is happening." Um and after that I told her like, hey, like I do all female comedy. Do you know any all female nights in London? She was like, I don't know any regular ones. And I said, well, if I ever move here, we should probably start one. And then it actually ended up happening.
I know. That's absolutely, absolutely awesome. Like, And yeah, I think I can only think of one in London that does it. And I mean,
They've got Hot Girl Comedy Inc., but you need to be pro. You need to have 20 minutes for that. I think there's Gobby Girls.
Hot Girl Comedy, that's run by Narin, isn't it?
I don't remember her name.
Um, yeah. So, yeah, Bella Narian runs that, isn't it? Yeah, Hot Girl Comic. Yeah, Bella Narian. I've had her on. I was talking
Oh
to
no.
her about yeah. So, how do you sort of decide the lineup? So you get sent 50 videos. What are you sort of looking for? Like a mixed bill? Oh no,
I'm
you know what I
looking
mean?
for,
Not mixed bill, but you know what I mean? Like different types of
yeah,
acts.
I'm looking for different levels of experience. I don't want to be somebody who only puts pros on. I think if you've been gigging enough, and again, if you've got a tight five that works, then I'll give you that 5 minutes. But the way the show normally works in Asia is that due to different levels of experience, and because they can be quite, there can be quite a discrepancy. Um, in the levels of experience, we will allot the time slot depending on how much experience a comedian has. I think in the UK there are enough who apply that everyone gets 7 minutes, everyone gets paid equally.
Oh,
So if you've got like five and you can extend to seven, then we give them that. So what I look for is just really, really solid delivery, but also I want a diversity in the types of topics and the types of comedic styles
yes.
that people have.
No, yeah, completely agree. Like you don't want, say, if you've got a bill like six girls on there, you don't want all six one-liner comedians.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
yeah. So how would you sort of decide who goes where on the bill?
I think about the vibe that I would like the night to have. So normally, for Bitches and Stitches, I like to host because I do a like 40-second spiel about why we're around and what we're about, and then I introduce all the acts. But I like to start out with someone who'll really take the energy up in the
Yes.
room and get them engaged. And when people are kind of hooked in and they've settled down, they've had their first drink, then I'll maybe put in someone who's like a little bit more chill, a little bit more deadpan. Um, and I go from there. I kind of like to oscillate between the energy levels or the delivery styles that comedians will have. Normally, there's an intermission. So the second half, again, I'll go with someone who's really high energy or just really dark or really shocking. So people will be like, what the fuck? I'm
Yeah.
listening. Okay.
Really engaged. Do you prefer comparing to doing a fixed bit now?
No, I like both.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm like Tinkerbell. I need applause to live. So any chance, I'll take it.
I've only compared a couple of times, but I absolutely loved it. It's something I'm trying to look to get more into. But I prefer. Well, yeah, yeah. No, I've only done comparing a couple of times, but I definitely reckon I slightly preferred it a little bit because I feel like you can control the room a little bit more, like you're more juggling of the whole night. So, if say if someone sends you, they send you their 5 minute video, is that just sort of a like security protocol, or would you expect them to do the material they've sent you?
No, I don't expect them to do the material they've sent me. I think that I want to give enough freedom for them to, if they've got some new ideas that they want to work in there, if they want to do a version of that, or if they have a complete other set that they just didn't happen to have on tape, then I'm happy with that. Also, I want to do the opportunity to do like theme nights. I think the thing with running Bitches and Stitches once a month is that there's that opportunity to be a little bit thematic. So we have a Christmas show on December 19th.
Okay.
Um, and obviously, whether you believe in Christmas or it's holidays or whatever, people are going to have opinions about that matter. So I would like to center it on that. Um, I know in Hong Kong and Philippines, we've done a Halloween one called Witches and Stitches.
Nice. I was trying to think of ho 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 with bitches and stitches, but my mind really drew a blank.
We have put that on a flyer. It
Oh,
wasn't the name
cool.
of the event,
Yeah.
but we put it on a flyer.
I'm trying to think. I don't know. Mrs. Claus's. No, honestly, some days the juices just flow.
Yeah.
Every skull, and then some days, like yesterday on the way to a gig, I thought of a joke, did the joke, and it killed. And I was like, oh, I am a genius. Today, I can't even put two words together. Like, I feel like you use all your superpowers at once, and then you just become like, you got to
It
like re.
happens. It happens. There are days I'm on fire, and there are some days I'm just like, I don't even know how to rhyme now. Like, how can I do a pun?
What even is a pun at the moment?
Yeah.
I'm so broken. Just would you like to keep Bits and Stitches as a monthly thing, or would you sort of like would you have progress in how often the shows are run or how many chapters you have?
I would like to do more shows at the moment. I think once we get more members in for all of our chapters, for Asia it was different because there were less female comedians.
Yeah,
We didn't want to do several shows a month with the same lineup, just
of
slightly
course.
reconfigured. But over here in the UK, I really see potential to be doing more than just a monthly event, but we need more members because I do have a second job, not at the moment, but I plan on getting one to
Yes.
pay my bills. Um, and I would like to have that more than once a month. And I would like to do open mics that are all female or non-male acts as well. Um,
Okay, so
so
the
that
main
would,
thing is getting the acts.
yeah,
Okay, well, dude, 100 every female act I've got, I'll send you away.
absolutely. That sounds
Like,
awesome.
like 100%. Like, cause yeah, I mean, I'm out there 4 times a week. I'm seeing them all. So yeah, I like. Well, I know this isn't for the pod. Sorry, guys. After this, I'll send all them people your info. But yeah, that's yeah. Because yeah, one thing about comedy. If anyone's listening who isn't in comedy, we obviously all want to make it. We all want to become as successful as possible. But we all do also all want the best for each other. We all want to help each other. And I can never get on this bill. I have no skin in your game whatsoever. But you hear about nights like this that you want to do well, even though, do you know what I mean? I've got zero skin in the game.
Well, I think, I mean, at the end of the day, right, I would like to think is that we want the scene to grow. You
Yeah.
know, those of us who truly, truly, truly love comedy just are in favor of any avenue that brings more laughter to more people's lives.
Hmm. Okay, I've got this one. So, how does comedy in Hong Kong? Now, I might just, I'm okay. I really don't want this to come across really stereotypical and racist, but fuck it, I'm going to say it anyways because I want to know. Because sometimes, races can come from ignorance, and I genuinely don't know. So, educate me. How, like, what women joke about in London and Manchester? Is it the same thing that what women would joke about in Hong Kong and Philippines?
It's very interesting because
That wasn't racist, was it?
no, 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 it's not
Perfect. There we
racist
go.
because I mean, you are influenced. There are cultural nuances that influence what people are going to laugh at the time. Um, and I think in my personal experience in Hong Kong, like they're a little bit more conservative with their attitudes, say, towards sex.
Okay.
So I've done shows in Hong Kong where like I'm quite sex positive in my set. I talk about like a very unfiltered, unromanticized version of what it's like to fuck. Um, and why it's funny. And not everybody laughs out loud. I've found in Hong Kong to that set, but I've had people come up to me after a set in Hong Kong saying, I thought you were hilarious. And I'll be like, bitch, I didn't see you laugh once. You
Tell
know,
your face that motherfucker.
but I think there's still maybe some sort of cultural like taboo about what you can be seen laughing at, what you can find funny in that sense. Um, in the Philippines, the sex jokes have gone down better in terms of I've seen more like visible reactions. I've seen more people laugh out loud compared to Hong Kong. But the Philippines is also a very Catholic, very repressed country.
I thought it was
So
half and half. Or was that Indonesia?
no, I think that's in we're 90% Catholic in the
Right.
Philippines and 10% Islamic. Um, but either way, both of those religions are sexually repressed, in my opinion.
Well, I think every religion is, isn't it? Pardon
Well,
Mormons. Are the Mormons? They're
I was
quite
I was
encouraged.
gonna say, yeah, I was gonna say I think Mormons like to get down, but you know, even then it's in service of something. Um, so in the Philippines, however, you might not get away with a joke about religion. In fact, I've actually I knew a comedian in the Philippines who was shot um
Oh,
because of his jokes about a particular religious sect.
fuck.
So, you know, there are cultural nuances. In Hong Kong, you probably would never make a joke about the government.
No,
Uh,
I had Mona. She's a Indian comedian from Belgium, and she said
mm,
when she goes to India, half her content she has to censor
yeah,
because there can be them repercussions, and
yeah,
that is fucking crazy.
yeah,
That is crazy. Like that's comedy should be. Like I've always been under the opinion you could joke about anything and everything you want, but you've got to say it with conviction, and most importantly, it needs to be funny. You can't
yeah,
be a preachy prick, and you can't basically try and push your agenda through the form of a joke.
yeah, yeah.
But as long as it's funny, it's mad like how people do get sort of censored. Okay, I've got an interesting one, and I'm going to play devil's advocate in this one because I know there is no answer. But if I said to you, what is female comedy?
Okay, I see what you're doing.
Thank you.
I think female comedy is comedy that is performed by women. That's basically it.
Love it. Love that.
Because
I
I
hate
don't
that
think
fucking question so much. It infuriates me. Like, it's comedy. Like, what the fuck do you want from it? It's comedy.
it's
Like,
comedy that just happens to be performed by a woman because I don't think there's one type of female comedian or one type of comedy that you're allowed or have the permission to do if you're a woman.
yeah. Well, when I was speaking with my mate Malika, she's a Turkish female comedian. She told me that I think it was only in the back end of 2023, Netflix still had a category called female comedians.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, that was still a fucking category.
Wow.
Like, Joe, let's fucking segment. Like, it was absolutely ridiculous. And I say some of the stories I've heard about some female comedians, like one of them, I'm not going to drop any names, but she said she can no longer on Instagram promote her nights because then she's basically telling everyone where she's going to be,
Oh,
and
wow.
she's got some like over assertive followers, like fucking weirdos, so she
Oh,
can't do that.
wow.
Like and like carpooling, car sharing with some people. I know got a female comedian. I'll tell you after the show the name. Who's currently got a lawsuit going against one of like the top promoters in London
Oh my God. Wow.
because
That's,
like he allowed her to be SA'd on like during the night.
oh, wow.
Like so, that are my dark ones. What's the worst thing you've seen someone do on stage?
Ooh, the worst thing I've seen someone do on stage might actually have been that night in Shoreditch that I met Ari David
Mm.
because it was not an open mic. I mean, it was like a gig that we got booked for. Um, but there weren't even any punchlines. He flat out made racist jokes about women of color.
You remember the joke?
No, but he definitely said black women.
Okay.
And then he just said, okay, he said something about gay people, and there was an uncomfortable sort of silence. He goes, no, I don't even know why I said that. I don't even like gay people. I hate gay
Brilliant.
people. No
Brilliant.
punchline.
Mm.
No punchline.
See, when I hear something, I like to hear the jokes because I like to, you try and say like, look, wasn't funny, but I like to try and see what the comedic angle was, so you can try and analyze it. Like, do you know what I mean?
No, no,
Because
no. I understand too
it's like
because
because I had a black woman bit, but it had to be black woman because my best mate Albert is black, and every time I went around his house, his mum always tried to see how spicy the food could be to give to me to
uh-huh.
tolerate. But it was never, do you know what I mean, hate, never anger, but it had to be referenced because of a culture difference.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
no like, like, oh, anti this, anti that, because okay, even if it's the funniest joke in the world, you've got to assess is the juice worth the squeeze? And nine
yeah.
times out of ten, It's not going to be. You got to be aware of the persona you give on stage.
Yeah.
And when you have a workshop or you have friends in comedy, you say, you know what? I thought of this. It's funny. Let's see what you can do with it. You can have it.
Yeah.
And then I just think it's better like that.
No, I agree. I agree. I just think that in terms in there are certain cultural jokes we can make and certain cultural jokes that even with the best intentions are not going to be received well. And if that's the case, I'll just be like, then someone else, who's better positioned to make this joke should make it.
Yeah, because I think when it comes to we'll get to crowd work in a second. When it comes to crowd work, the fruit is a lot lower because it's live, it's spontaneous, all that. When you go on stage to do a bit, no one's told you to go and say that.
Yeah.
You've chosen to write that down and go say it in front of these people.
Yeah.
So, like I say before I start the recording, always I don't cut anything, I don't edit anything because if you say it, you've got to say it with conviction, and then you've got to
Yep.
stand by the
Hmm.
consequences of it. And if you've chosen to go up and say that on stage, you better get ready for the consequences.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, just deal with it. To be honest.
No, I 100% believe in that. Like, if you're going to say something, then you'd better be able to back it up. Which is why I think I love the format of just like doing an unedited podcast, because I mean that is what comedy is. No one's going to control alt delete, if you've said something that's kind of killed the vibe in a room. You've got to kind of be able to win them back over or recover in some way, or just completely decide that it's time to end your set.
See, it was actually quite fun because what was it about 6, 7 episodes back? I asked this guy, like, I asked the dude, I was like, "What's the worst thing you've ever seen on stage?" And it was on about like this guy who was incredibly sexist, and he was like, "Oh, I hate women." I was like, "Do you know what? If I wanted to, I could pause that, clip that, edit that, make it look like you said that, and make you look like the biggest asshole in the world."
Yeah.
But that's why it has to all be unfiltered,
Yeah.
uncut, unedited. So you've got to see everything as it truly is.
Hmm.
And yeah, that's why I think when you ask for the videos, you have to see the whole thing because anyone can do a 5 second clip to make themselves look brilliant.
Oh, I mean, I got my start as a journalist, like in video production. So like
Cool.
I have edited interviews.
Mm.
Not super proud of this, but I have edited interviews to just like focus on the spicy bits, the bits that'll get people watching a broadcast video. So I would rather, if people are going to send me a clip, it would be unedited.
Yeah.
Because
And
you
keep,
have to see the full act, and
I was like,
in
keep your
honest,
integrity.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And also, if you send all these little miniature clips and you look like, the best thing in the world, you don't want to put somebody in a position where they're going to fail.
Yes.
Like you want everyone to do well. So it's like, you know
Yeah.
what, come along, try a 7. Let's see how it goes. If it goes well, we know you can do this, then we know you can do that.
Hmm.
Like you don't want people to bomb. Like
Yeah.
you want everyone to do well. So how has your crowd work developed? Like doing like the comparing and stuff.
My crowd work is good. Like I love to talk to people, but I'm funny about crowd work because sometimes it still throws me. I'm not somebody who is phenomenal at improv, admittedly. Um, when I do crowd work, I've already gone over the possible answers that somebody might give me and crafted a response. And I think
I think
that
everyone's done that.
that makes me more comfortable. I know some people who can wing it and they are just that sharp.
They annoy me, them people. Do you know Lou Conran?
I do not.
Ah, okay. If you want to learn how to MC and compare, she is the woman. She is the holy grail. I've got her on in a couple of weeks. She does a comedy store. She MCs for
Oh,
that.
wow.
She
Nice.
is, yeah. Like I'd see after George Knightley, she is the second best compare in the country,
Amazing.
and she kills it. She owns it. I'm not going to say like best as a woman. She's the second best in the country. That's it. Full stop.
Yep.
Like she's absolutely smashing it. So on your night, how would you deal with hecklers?
Again, I have some stock like clapbacks that I can throw out there if I get heckled. I think given my kind of comedy, I get a specific type of heckler. I'm never gonna get somebody to be like, "You're too feminist," you know. So it'll normally be maybe some like cis het guy who's like a little bit drunk, kind of sexist.
Yeah.
Oh, why are you so angry? Or like, show us your tits, or stuff like that. So I normally have replies like, "Oh my God, you're like the first white man to ask me to get naked today. This is
Yeah.
such an honor. Have I been colonized?" Like.
I like that. That's a great little tag, that is.
But I have them prepared. So it's very possible that I may get a heckler one day that catches me off guard, but I think because I'm very intentional about my brand of comedy, then I am able to anticipate what kind of hecklers I may get.
Yeah, yeah. I think the best ones are the ones who like. I need to do this from a female perspective. The ones who basically turn them into little boys,
Mm,
like a parent telling them off almost. They're my
yeah.
favourite. To see these like grown up ass men who are trying to act all like macho, swinging their dicks around, and then they become this shy little boy. Fucking love that. Love a slap down. To be honest, like yeah, because I think that's the best way. So, gone with yourself personally. Then, what's been your favourite moment on stage, and what time have you personally bombed the hardest?
Okay. Um, So my one of my absolute favorite moments on stage was it wasn't a purely stand-up comedy night. What I did in Hong Kong was we partnered with like a LGBTQ kind of nightclub
Yeah,
to sort of a cabaret. So it was half stand-up comedy and half burlesque, half singing, other acts, but everyone on the lineup was a femme. And the name of the event was Femme because the owner of the nightclub or the manager said, we're very well known for our gay nights.
yeah.
Like gay men know this club.
Play
There's always
Queen.
something
Yeah,
on for them, but there are gay women in Hong Kong and not that many venues for them. I want to do a night that's just for the girls. Not necessarily you have to be a gay woman, but I want this club to do something for women. So we came up with a night femme. Um, and then I had a panic attack because I'm like, there is 100-person capacity in here. And we sold out.
mad.
Um,
So all I'm thinking is Cindy Lauper on repeat.
and
That's all I'm thinking at the moment.
Oh, the girls do want to have fun. That was a really rowdy night. It was really fun. Um, but one of my favorite moments was just after the panic attack when I stepped up on stage and the house lights weren't completely dim, and I just saw how many women, and not even just women, there were some men in the audience,
Yeah.
mostly gay, but just how many people in the audience were like screaming and cheering. And I hadn't even done my set yet. All I said was make some noise. Um,
Well, they did exactly what you told them to do. So
and I think that was one of the best moments where I'm just like, wow, people really are here for this kind of performance, for this kind of comedy. Um, and I had been wrestling with a lot of doubt, like, oh, can you pack a room? The biggest room we'd done was like maybe 40. But to get it to maybe 100 or over 100, um,
for the
what
first time as well.
yeah, for the first time was really amazing. And the fact that we had people still wanting to get in on that night, get tickets at the door, and we couldn't let them in, was pretty amazing. So that was a really good feeling and kind of made it like click in my head that like, okay, so like people do want this, we are making people happy with what we do. It's not just some pipe dream. Um, the biggest moment that I bombed, um, I don't know if I can put my finger on it, but I do not drink alcohol
Okay.
anymore. I used to drink very heavily. Um, and it didn't help that I was kind of using alcohol as like some sort of pre-show lubricant.
Dutch courage.
Yeah. In the form of 3 to 4 tequila shots
Right. Okay.
before
Oh,
I
strong.
even
Yeah,
got on
spirits.
stage.
Hard stuff.
Yeah. And I remember one time getting off stage and someone was like, "Oh, good set." And I was like, "Wait, have I gone?" I had
Brilliant.
completely forgotten that I'd gone on. So I don't think I did really well. I think they were just being nice to me because if I can't remember, I don't know how sharp I could have been, to be honest. And I think when I had started doing stand-up comedy, it was because I had just come out of a breakup. So I was drinking
Yeah.
extra heavily.
Yeah.
Um, and my jokes, or I guess my comedic persona, wasn't fully formed at the time. I was just trying it out. But some of it was also just kind of sad. So I think in the early days of my stand-up career, I was a little bit funny, but not super funny. And I did okay.
Yeah. I do get it. And it takes a moment to realize, yeah, to then push yourself to the next level. And I always think open mic circuit, and then when you start out, you try and treat it like cheap therapy
Yes. Oh my God, yes.
to get everything off your chest, and then you start to realize, wait, I want to just talk about what I want to talk about, but I'm here to please people at the end of the day.
Yes.
Not, what's more important, that I feel good about my set or that everyone else feels good about my set.
Yes.
And then that's when the transition happens. So I'll do it with these final two then. Um, why should females come apply to be a part of Stitches and Bitches?
So I think that any woman, again, who's interested in comedy, who wants to perform comedy, should apply to Bitches and Stitches because we want to give them a platform to be more visible. I think that the more types of voices we get on the microphone, the more types of conversations, real conversations we can have about what's important to us, what's happening in this world, and the more we enrich each other's lives and the more we learn about. And Bitches and Stitches wants to be that platform that makes more women comedians visible. We're not here to gatekeep, we're here to foster a community of, that's based around uplifting each other through the form of laughter. And I just want to help more women achieve that. And also get more women interested in comedy. I want them to come to shows. I want them to sit up front and feel safe laughing out loud. Again, at the end of the day, I think everyone in the world deserves to have laughter in their lives. And I would like Bitches and Stitches to play a part in that.
Uh, we're gonna clip that bit, aren't we? That was fucking beautiful. That was.
Thank you.
And the next one, why should people come watch Bitches and Stitches?
I think people should come watch Bitches and Stitches because honestly, we are here to say what we mean, unfiltered, and all in the service of giving you a laugh. I think it's a great way to spend your evening with some of the funniest people in town, honestly, men, women, whatever, because I think there's something about the all-female environment that just adds to the bravado of our performers. And we'll say what your boss shouldn't hear and what you don't want to text your ex. But we'll do it all in service of like making sure that you have a hilarious evening.
I love it. Yeah, jokes so good that HR would want to hear them the next day. Love it. Okay, and we'll do this from a female perspective. There's a female, full stop, who's looking to get into comedy. They've never done it before. They're a little bit nervous about getting on stage. What advice would you give them? And you can't say just do it.
The advice I would give them is to find your people. I think community is so important in terms of giving you the support, giving you the courage, giving you the feedback, the constructive feedback that you need in order to succeed, because we don't succeed 100% of the time. That's not how comedy works. And that's not how we grow as comedians either without getting constructive feedback. So my advice really is to find your people, find your crew, your squad that you feel comfortable with, you feel safe with, and who are there to have your back and nurture you and support you while you grow.
Brilliant answer once again. And when's the open mic rendition of Bitches and Stitches gonna happen roughly? Do you think?
I don't know. It'll probably happen next year for
Okay.
open mic. But our debut show in London is happening on October 24th in Hoxton.
In Hoxton, is that Comedy Cabin?
Yep,
Yeah, I've gigged there.
nice.
Yeah, I think that was like my fourth ever gig. It's a lovely room. Well, about this lovely room. Good beer as well. Just if you want to know that. When I gigged there, I was going to Spain the next day, and I got there. I was going to Spain the next day at 6 in the morning. So I was like, you know what? I'll gig, then I'll stay till 12, and then I'll get the train down to Gatwick.
Hmm.
And that was the last time I said to myself, I'm going to get drunk before the gig. Because their beer was fantastic there. So, Fran, it's been absolutely brilliant. Thank you ever so much for coming on. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And yeah, I wish all the best with Bitches and Stitches.
Thank you so much for having me. It was wonderful to chat with you. And again, I'll talk to you offline about the women who've been on your podcast and we can all get in touch.
I love that. And thank you ever so much, for guys. Words, fucking hell, brilliant. Thank you ever so much, guys, for watching. Cheers. Much love, Fran.
Take care.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.